How are you?
Good. Traveling around a lot, sounded like.
Yeah, I just landed, but it's good to be here, so.
Yeah, well, it must be an exciting time getting this tour started, huh?
It is. I'm really psyched about it. Looking forward to doing it. We just did a little rehearsal the other night, and that went really well. So I'm eager to get going with it.
So how long a tour will it be?
Well, right now we're just doing basically 6 major cities, and then I'm going to stop for Christmas, and then probably start up again afterwards. But I wanted to keep it small starting out because I haven't done this yet, so I need to pace myself and not, bite off more than I can chew.
Is there, if everything goes according to plan after Christmas, you'll do a very extensive tour, the kind where you're out for months and months?
No, I'll do, more cities here, and I'll go over to Europe and probably Japan. But I don't think I'm the type of person who would go out and do a show every night and, never come home and just travel endlessly. That's not me, and I don't think that would work vocally for me either. And I think that the people who are going to come see me want to hear me sing and sound good. They don't want me to be like a wreck up there,
Right. I was looking, I saw a schedule of yours which had a date last week at UMass in Amherst. Was that?
Right, that was the rehearsal show.
That was, I see, so that was where you kind of warmed up, huh?
Right.
And so the official starts in Miami on Wednesday, huh?
Right.
Well, obviously you're proceeding into the tour thing very deliberately and carefully, but, of course this goes against the grain of what so many performers do when they just get out there and tour.
Right.
So why has it been taking you to this point to get out there and perform in public?
Well, number one, because I put out so much music in such a short period of time. I've had 3.5 albums, if you're counting the MTV Unplugged, which is an EP. In 3 years, I only put my first album out in 90, and I've had so much music out there because of the fact that I didn't tour, and I went right back into writing and producing, And I also did other projects. I did work with Trey Lorenz, and just, when I'm in the studio, it really consumes me because I'm there every second of the recording process. So it's not like a lot of singers who just go in and sing and then someone else is putting material together for them while they're out touring. I'm doing everything,
Right.
And that's one main reason. But I think the real reason, or the main reason, is that I wasn't ready. I don't feel that I was ready emotionally to go out there and do it yet, and I wasn't ready as a performer because I didn't start out doing little clubs like most singers do, or most acts do, whatever, groups, whatever, and I just put my first album out, and suddenly I was on all these TV shows and, right out there and learning about performing in the public eye, and that's really not what people should do. And so I felt insecure of myself as a performer because of that, because I hadn't had the experience performing to an audience before. And so then when I would do these shows, and you're on a TV show, like when you're on The Tonight Show or Arsenio Hall or whatever, you're performing to a camera, and the audience is so far away from you that you don't get any sense of the audience, You don't learn about how to play to the audience. You don't feel the audience. So when I think the major turning point was when I did Unplugged, and for the first time it was like a real audience right up in my face of real people, not sitting there on an award show singing to every superstar in the business, seen everything. And so I really, really enjoyed it, and I just kind of realized that my fans, the people who are going to come see me, they want to hear me sing and perform my songs. It's not like a big deal. I was making it to a bigger deal than it was, so I kind of got past that hump and realized that I wanted to do it. And then I taped a special for NBC this summer.
I heard about that, yeah.
And that was like the first extended concert that I did, and I had a really great time. We had the first 8 rows, and we gave tickets away to my fan club, and I just felt really close, to the audience, and I really enjoyed myself. So that got me even more prepared and ready to do it. And now, just doing this, I'm having a great time. I'm really, really enjoying myself, just even in rehearsals and being up there and stuff.
Well, I can remember when I saw the Unplugged show, and I was thinking, geez, she doesn't have any experience or anything, maybe this is going to be, a real stiff event or something like that. And then it was like, whoa, hang on, you just seemed like so loose and having such a great time, and I guess, a natural performer. Did that give you a lot of confidence doing that show?
I think definitely doing Unplugged was a major confidence builder for me, because all I did was go up there and be myself and sing my songs and realize that that's all I had to do. It's not about going up there and acting like someone I'm not or having to be a certain way. It's just going up there, being myself and singing, and that's what I love to do. So now that I've gotten over that my whole I guess because of the way I started out, it was a really bad experience for me. It was just like I was thrown into the water and I had to sink or swim, getting up there in front of literally millions of people when I had put my first album out like 4 months ago, getting up there on the Grammys and looking at all your idols in the front row. It's kind of scary,
I can imagine. I can't imagine.
And not being a performer in your mind,
So you really managed, to get to the point of doing that first album with really having no club experience whatsoever?
Exactly. I've been working in studio since I was 13 with, older musicians. I was singing jingles for people and doing, nothing that was ever big, but just people would want someone to come in and sing, and I always had a mature voice, and so I would do these little things, and so I learned about the studio, and I was writing with people from that age, and so I've been in the studio for like 10 years, but I never, performed up until this point.
So was that Grammy thing really like your first public experience virtually?
Actually, the Arsenio Hall show was the first thing I ever did, which is still a huge thing.
Yeah, only a few million people watching, I guess.
And then, a few TV shows like that. And then the Grammys. And so it was really, the night before the Grammys, I was so freaked out I couldn't sleep. Not because I was worried about if I was going to win or not. It was about the performance. So anyway, I think because I had to learn like that, and people did criticize me for being stiff and this and that, I think that after having to go through it that way, I feel like I can do anything now. If I can deal with it that way, I can do anything.
You said before that, you didn't really want to do it before this point. Do you feel that, that in a way you're a shy person? Is that part of your personality, that a reluctance to get out there?
People write that I'm shy all the time. I guess that comes across sometimes when I don't know someone that well and I just, meet them and do an interview. I don't act like I act when I'm with my friends or something. But I don't think that I'm really a shy person. It depends. I can be crazy and outgoing, or I can be shy. It all depends.
Do you, here you're getting going and you're doing tours, I guess. I know the place that you're playing in near Boston is a 15,000-seat arena, and I imagine that's pretty much typical of what you're going to be doing. Is there a part of you that wishes that you were starting smaller and working clubs rather than these big arenas?
Sort of, but I don't know. I know I'm not doing that many dates, so I wanted to be able to have as many people come, because I didn't want, the people to be disappointed who couldn't go. You know what I mean? The fans that have waited for me to tour for 3 years, and then suddenly I'm only going to do one little club date, and that wouldn't really be fair, I don't think, to the fans. But for myself, I have to space out the shows like this to make sure I get enough rest and everything like that, because I don't want to burn myself out. So I had to kind of weigh which was more important, and I felt it was important to be able to sing for as many people, and give something back to those people.
There are so many people who go out today, and they're these extravagant productions with, scenery and props and all sorts of crazy stuff going on.
Right.
Is there any element, stuff like that going to be in your show, or are you going to take a simpler route?
Well, there's an element. There's some show type of things. It's not just like no set or whatever, but it's not about distracting from me. I think the main focal point is me and my songs and my singing, but I wanted it to be exciting too. The lights are good and we do have a pretty set, but it's not, there's no fireworks going off or anything.
Is there, aside from the experiences that you've had and the kind of show that you did last week in Massachusetts, is there any kind of preparation that one can do to get ready to get out there and put on such a big show?
I feel like I've been preparing for it for the past 3 years, like I said, doing everything that I had to do and kind of learning in the public eye. I don't know, that was just like the ultimate, I don't know. It was very, very hard to do it that way. And so now when I'm doing these things and I'll be singing for audiences that really, want to come see me and they're there just to see me, I think it's going to be a lot easier. Because it's not like such a hard thing. It's really hard when you feel like you have to get up there and prove yourself for people that aren't into you anyway and the whole thing,
Right. Well, is there that feeling that this is, that going out there now, that there's extra pressure on you because you have been so successful and you haven't been out there live before?
I don't know. I think there would have been pressure anyway. If I would have gone out after the first album, then people would have said, oh, she doesn't look comfortable and this and that and the other thing. They'll always say something. I can't prevent people from having their criticisms of me. So I'm trying not to focus on that and trying to focus on me having a good time and singing for the people and hopefully the people that come there to see me and enjoy the show having a good time. So that's all I'm worried about, and I'm really looking forward to it. Everybody's saying, are you nervous, but I'm really not.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
There's, you talk about how hard it was for you to be cast in front of so many people so quickly.
Right.
I mean, is there any sense of regret that you were so successful so soon?
Well, I'm very fortunate the way my career took off and the way things happened for me, so I wouldn't ever want to, say, oh, I wish it didn't happen or blah, blah, blah. I'm not one of those type of people. But, yeah, thank you. Sorry.
Could you hang on just 1 second?
Yeah.
I just got to say something to somebody.
Okay. You guys both leaving? Are you guys both leaving?
Thank you. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Hi. Anyway, what was I just saying? Yeah, but
I was asking whether or not you had kind of regrets, just that it all happened so quickly and you didn't maybe get a chance to get going in a more low-key kind of manner.
Right. Well, I think if anything, I would relive the first year now and experience everything and take everything in that happened for me the first year of my, career, because it was so incredible and it happened so fast and I was so nervous and caught up in it all that I really didn't experience it, And now what I'm trying to do is take in every minute of what I'm doing and enjoy it all. So that's one thing. And maybe if I could go back and do it again, I would have, when I was, struggling before I got my deal, I would have done clubs and would have tried to learn about doing it that way.
I mean, with the kind of success you've had where you've had all these number one records, one right after another, and then you do the Unplugged, and now at long last, here comes the tour. It gives the impression that you're following a very carefully worked out plan. And that you're being marketed, the same way that someone would introduce, I hate to use the word, a new product, and it's all being designed to ensure maximum success.
That's an interesting idea, but unfortunately, it's not really true. This whole tour and everything is because I'm ready. somebody would have said, we want to market you this way, so you better get ready to do a tour, and I wasn't ready, I would say, sorry, I'm not ready. I'm not going to go out and do it. I'm doing this because I want to do it, and because I'm now realizing that I'm missing out on something by not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm taking it slowly for myself, for my voice, because I'm not going to be stupid about it and get out there and burn my voice out and burn myself out, because I have to look at this in real terms. I can't, overextend myself if I'm not, it's a physical thing to get up there and sing 16 songs the way I sing, the way I've written my songs back to back. It's hard, it's just like, it's a delicate instrument. So I have to do it slowly and do it the way I'm doing it. But, people market things. I'm not going to say that record companies don't try to market artists like products or whatever, but, what I do is my vision. I produce my own records and write my own songs and put out the music that I want to put out, so.
In the string of, I don't remember exactly the record that you hold, but I was looking at it not too long ago, and it was something, I forget if you had 6 or 7 consecutive #1 singles. And is there something now when you put out a single, do you expect that it's going to go to #1? Is it almost taken for granted?
No, not at all. I hope that people will like it and, that it will be successful because it comes from me, and it's something that I've put out, and I hope that my fans will like it, but I don't expect it to do well at all. It all depends. You never can tell, I would never take that for granted, because that's one thing that me as a fan of other artists, that used to annoy me when somebody was really popular and they would have like all these great songs and they'd all be hits, and then suddenly they would put out something that I was like, oh, this isn't so great, and it would be a hit, and I'd be like, oh, now they're just relying on their popularity. They're getting lazy and they can do whatever they want, I hate that.
Is there any, being that you hold this consecutive hit record, can you figure out yourself, can you say, geez, do you know what it is that you're doing which has sent each one of these to the top?
I don't know. It's so hard when people ask me to really explain that sort of thing, because it's looking at myself, and that's really hard to do, objectively, I think. But I guess it's something obviously it's something that people are relating to. There's something in the music that people are relating to. Different types of music affect different types of people, and some people relate to other types of music, like alternative stuff, and some people, are into other things. But I think there's a lot of people out there that are into what I'm doing, the style of music that I'm doing, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I've asked this question to other people in interviews, and the general answer is along the lines of like, hey, if I knew what was making me so successful, I'd market it and sell it to other people.
Right.
But it's kind of hard to figure. Obviously there's a lot of people who look and they say, oh, well, she married the head of her record company, and from people have a lot of ideas about how the music business works and people and how a record gets to be a hit. Do you attribute your success in some part to your relationship with your husband and his position?
Well, the fact that, he basically discovered me by getting handed that tape is, of course, a major thing, and he's been extremely helpful to me. But I know I wouldn't have given up until I got where I wanted to go anyway, and I was in the process of negotiating, almost at negotiation point with Warner Brothers before that happened, and then I decided to go with Sony. But he is not only a brilliant businessman, but he's a very, very musical person, and I always say that when people ask me about him, and he's great with music, and I think artists respect that he's not someone that used to sell a product. He's always been in the music industry. He was a singer, so I respect that about him. But as far as getting any kind of like special treatment or anything because of being married to him, it's totally the opposite. I mean, it actually works against me because the company is so paranoid about doing anything that would be construed as me getting special treatment that I have to wait that much longer for my royalty checks, have to take that much more time looking at, okay, is this contract giving her too much of this? It's like almost ridiculous in a way, that because he has nothing to do with that aspect of what I do contractually. You know, we can't discuss those things.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else takes it that much more like, oh, we better not give her this, we better not give her that, you know. After a while, I'm like, hello, you know.
Well, with his background as an artist,
Mm-hmm.
and from the creative side, does he have input into what you end up releasing on an album?
It's really funny, but we usually end up agreeing on what songs will go on the album, you know, and if he doesn't agree with me and I feel strongly about it, I'll put it on anyway, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like he and I really have the same taste as far as music goes, you know, and we'll both know this isn't right, you know. I've been in fights with other people at the record company who didn't like something or wanted me to put something on an album that I hated, and I had to really, really fight it out to get my way.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know.
Was there anything like on the new album that he didn't like, and you said, no, I'm putting it on anyway?
Not really with this one, no.
You know, it seems that with every album that you put out, the critics get a little bit nastier.
Yeah.
Like they're like, they're gonna, well, we like the first one, well, we're not gonna be so kind the second time. Do you feel like with the latest one that there's, maybe you're experiencing a kind of backlash or something, and they're being less generous or maybe overly harsh this time out?
I feel like they were overly harsh after the first one. I think like the first one, I didn't expect, I got a lot of good reviews on the first one, and I didn't expect that at all. I mean, I got some bad ones too, but I got a lot of good ones. And so I was surprised at that, and I felt that, after that, the albums became more, in a sense, like of one cohesive thing. It wasn't like 50 different producers and this and that. And so I thought, oh, they'll be more well-received, and I was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't really care, what can I do? All I can do is hope that my fans, the people who are listening to my music and enjoying me as an artist, will appreciate the albums and the work that I do. Unplugged got really good reviews for the most part, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to make every record an Unplugged because that's not what I want to do. Someday it might be what I want to do. Someday I know I'll definitely want to do an all-acoustic album because I enjoy doing that, but right now I don't. So I'll deal with it. If they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. I've gotten some really good reviews and some horrendous ones, but it doesn't really affect me.
One criticism which I've seen in a few different places was directed at the lyrics of the new record, saying, and it seemed to, I guess, imply that, maybe now that you've been successful with a couple of records, there's less for you to write about, and maybe that the lyrics are not as interesting because the struggle isn't there. How do you feel about that criticism?
I feel like somebody shouldn't try to look into my life and, make their own judgments about what struggles I've gone through or what struggles I'm going through. For all they know, I could be struggling every day. They don't know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I feel like people are, if they're going to critique an album, they should critique it as a body of work. They shouldn't nitpick every little lyric, I think that's wrong, and I think that they shouldn't especially try to have preconceived notions about me as a person and work those things into the review, because that's not fair. That's reviewing me, the person, which they have no business doing, not the album,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but what can I do?
Well, one of the things that I saw that was praised on the new album was that they said you were not showing off and hitting those high notes quite as much, and you were more restrained.
Right.
did you feel that you needed to be more restrained on that score this time?
No, I mean, I sing from my heart, and where the music makes me feel like going is where I go with my voice. You know, if I felt like hitting high notes on every single song and it was appropriate for the song, I would do it. You know, but also, you know, I feel like I learn about myself every time I go into the studio, and I'm experimenting every time I go in and learning about my voice. It's not like such a calculated thing, you know what I mean? So, but they're all motioning me that I have to get off the phone.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll let you run and listen. Just thanks for taking the time today, and we can't wait to hear you and see you when you come to Boston next week.
Yes, I hope I get to meet you. Thank you very much.
Okay, take care now.
Okay, you too.
Bye.
Bye.